almost ignored the call, because my own number was on the screen. At first, my brain refused to treat it as a problem. Phones, glitch, numbers, spoof. I'd heard about scams like that before. For a second, it was almost funny, like my phone had tripped over itself. I let it ring. The phone was sitting on the coffee table, face up, buzzing softly against the wood. Same area code. Same last 4 digits, no contact name, just the number. My number. When the ringing stopped, I picked up the remote and turned the TV volume up a little, trying to reset the moment. That should have been the end of it. 5 seconds later, my phone buzzed again. Voicemail. I frowned. Whoever it was hadn't stayed on long enough to leave one. At least, they shouldn't have. I opened the voicemail tab. One new message. Caller ID, my number. Length, 9 seconds. I didn't feel scared yet, just cautious. The kind of pause you take when something doesn't line up with how it's supposed to work. I pressed play. At first, there was nothing. Just a faint hiss, like air moving in a quiet room. Then I heard breathing. Not rushed, not heavy, normal. I lifted the phone closer to my ear. And then I heard my own voice. Hello? I jerked the phone away so fast I almost dropped it. My heart kicked hard in my chest, but my mind immediately went to explanations. Recordings always sound strange. Voices can be similar. Maybe it just sounded like me. I pressed play again. The voice came back, clearer this time. Hello? Same tone, same pause afterward, the exact way I answer calls when I don't recognize the number. The message ended. I stared at the screen until it went dark. I checked the call log. 1 missed call, incoming, from my number. I stood up and paced the living room, my thoughts circling the same dead ends. Spoofing, pranks, a scammer, fishing for reactions. I deleted the voicemail. I set the phone face down. I went into the kitchen and poured a glass of water. When I came back, the phone was ringing again, same number. This time, I didn't smile. I stood there watching it buzz, my chest tight, my breath shallow. I told myself not to answer, told myself that engaging would only make it worse. The ringing stopped. Immediately, the phone buzzed again. Voicemail. I picked it up slowly and pressed play. No static this time, no breathing, just my voice. I can hear you moving around, it said. My stomach dropped. I know you didn't answer, the voice continued, calm and patient. That's okay. The message ended. That wasn't random. The timing was wrong. The words were wrong. I locked the front door, I checked the windows, I blocked the number. For a few minutes, nothing happened. I sat on the couch, phone in my hand, trying to slow my breathing. Then the phone buzzed again. Blocked number. Missed call. Same number. I opened the voicemail without thinking. I figured you'd block it, my voice said. Most people do. There was a faint echo now, like the sound was bouncing off walls. I just wanted to hear it again, it added. The way you say hello. My hands were shaking. I locked myself in the bathroom and sat on the edge of the tub, staring at the screen. Another call came in. I didn't answer. I didn't decline it. I just watched it ring. This time, there was no voicemail. Instead, a text message appeared. Why won't you answer yourself? I typed back before I could stop myself. Who is this? The reply came instantly. You. I dropped the phone into the tub. Another message lit up the screen. You always answer eventually. I powered the phone off. The screen went black. The apartment felt too quiet afterward, like I'd turned something off that wasn't supposed to be turned off. I sat there staring at the dark phone. Then I heard it. Not from the phone, from the hallway. A faint buzzing sound, my ringtone. I stood up slowly. The sound came again. Buzz, buzz. It was coming from the bedroom, from the nightstand, from the charger. Nothing was plugged into it. The buzzing stopped. My phone vibrated in my hand. The screen lit up. It was on again. Incoming call, my number. I backed away until my legs hit the bed. The call ended. Voicemail notification. I listened. This time there was movement. Soft, shifting sounds. Fabric brushing against something. Then my voice spoke, quieter than before. "You're closer now." I looked at the phone's reflection. For a second, it didn't move when I did. Another text appeared. "You're making this difficult." "Stop," I said out loud. The reply came immediately. "You called me first." I froze. I checked the call log. At the top was an outgoing call. From my number to my number. Duration, 11 seconds. There were more beneath it, short calls, all late at night. Some while I remembered being awake, some while I knew I was asleep. "You don't remember everything you do." My throat tightened. "When did I call you?" I typed. "When you were alone." I swallowed. I'm always alone. Exactly. The phone rang again. This time, the caller ID showed my name, first and last. Spelled correctly. I answered. "You don't remember making the call," my voice said, "because you weren't awake the way you think you were." "What does that mean?" I whispered. "It means you don't sleep the whole night," it replied. "You just don't notice the gaps." I hung up. I unplugged everything. Charger, TV, laptop. I sat in silence until morning. Later that day I got a new phone, new SIM, new number. That night it was quiet, no calls, no messages. I slept until my alarm went off, or at least I thought it did. The screen was already on. Incoming call, unknown number. Below it, a voicemail notification, time-stamped an hour earlier, from my old number. I didn't listen. I didn't need to, because sometimes late at night when the room is quiet, I still catch myself talking, and I don't always remember what I say. I don't listen to voicemails anymore. That's not a quirk. It's not a preference. It's a rule I set for myself after the third complaint came in, the one I couldn't explain. I work customer support for a regional mobile carrier. Not sales, not billing, the back-end stuff, account issues, call logs, voicemail routing. The boring side of phones that most people never think about unless something breaks. Most days, nothing does. That morning started the same way. Coffee, headset, ticket queue, the usual mix of dropped calls, spam complaints, people swearing their phone is haunted because it rang once at 3 a.m. I almost closed the ticket without reading it. Subject: voicemail received from O number. Priority: medium account status, active. That happens more than you'd think. Spoofed calls. Scam systems, old devices looping audio. 90% of the time it's nothing. But this one had attachments, 3 voicemails, all from the customer's own number. I clicked the first. There was no audio, just 9 seconds of silence. The system flagged it as successfully delivered. I frowned and pulled the metadata. Caller ID matched device. ID matched network route, internal, no external gateway involved. That shouldn't happen. You can spoof a number, sure, but you can't route a call through the same device without it being active on the line. I opened the second voicemail. This one had sound. Breathing, soft, normal, close to the mic. Then a voice said, "Hello?" I paused it. The waveform didn't spike like a recording. No compression artifacts, no jitter. It looked like live audio, captured cleanly. I checked the timestamp. The voicemail was received 2 minutes before the call log showed the phone ringing. I sat back in my chair. That wasn't possible. I pulled the customer's account history. They'd requested a new SIM card that afternoon. New number assigned, Old number deactivated. Except the system didn't agree. According to the logs, the old number was still making outbound calls. To itself. Short ones, under 15 seconds, all late at night. I scrolled. There were dozens. Some had voicemails attached, most didn't. I hovered over the play button on one and hesitated. I shouldn't have listened, but I did. This time, the voice didn't say hello. It said, "You don't remember sending this one." I closed the file immediately. My heart was beating harder than it should have been for something that was, on paper, just data. I checked the internal notes. No fraud flags, no malware reports, no duplicate device IDs. The system treated every call as legitimate. I escalated it to Tier 3 with a simple note. Call routing anomaly. Possible loopback error. They kicked it back within 5 minutes. No error detected. I tried something I wasn't supposed to do. I searched the voicemail server for similar cases. There were 7. Different customers, different states, different carriers. Roaming data pulled in from shared infrastructure. Same pattern. Voicemails originating from the customer's own number. All short, all late at night, all marked as user-initiated. One account had been closed. Reason: customer deceased. I clicked it. The final voicemail was still attached. I shouldn't have listened to that one either. The voice sounded tired. "I'm still here," it said. "You just don't check anymore." I disconnected my headset and stood up, suddenly aware of how quiet the office was. Rows of cubicles, empty chairs, the low hum of servers behind the wall. I told myself it was stress, pattern recognition where there was none. Then my phone vibrated in my pocket. Missed call. No caller ID, voicemail notification. I froze. I hadn't given my number to any of those accounts. There was no reason for my phone to be involved. I didn't open it, not right away. I went back to my desk and pulled up my own call log. Nothing. No missed calls, no outgoing calls. I exhaled slowly. Then the voicemail tab refreshed. One new message from my number. Duration, 11 seconds. I stared at it long enough that my screen dimmed. I knew better. I pressed play anyway. At first, there was silence. Then my voice spoke. "You always listen to these," it said. "That's why this works." I felt cold all over. I checked the timestamp. The voicemail was received 3 minutes in the future. I didn't wait for it to update. I shut my phone off and stuffed it in my bag. I left work early that day. That night, I dreamed I was sitting at my desk, headset on, listening to voicemails that never ended. Every one of them was my voice. Everyone said something slightly different. I woke up with my phone buzzing on the nightstand. Powered off, buzzing. When I turned it on, there were no missed calls, no voicemails, just a single system notification from my carrier's internal app. Account status update. User presence confirmed. I don't work voicemail tickets anymore, I don't listen to messages, and I never talk to myself when I'm alone. Because somewhere in the system, there's a version of me that still does, and it never hangs up. I was listed as a reference. They thanked me for confirming details I never gave. That was the first thing that told me something was wrong. The email came in mid-afternoon, buried between spam and work updates. The subject line didn't stand out. It wasn't urgent. It wasn't dramatic. "Thank you for your time." I almost deleted it without opening it. Curiosity got me instead. It was from a background screening company, the kind employers use when they're verifying work history or references. The message was polite, professional, calm. It thanked me for confirming information about someone I didn't recognize. I assumed it was a mistake. That happens. Wrong email address, similar names, a typo somewhere in the system. But then I saw the line that made my stomach tighten. Reference relationship, personal acquaintance. My full name was listed below it. Correct spelling. No middle initial missing. No formatting errors. I scrolled back up and checked the recipient line. It was addressed to me. I reread the email slowly this time. They thanked me for speaking with one of their representatives earlier that day. They said my responses were helpful and had been recorded in their system. They said no further action was needed. I stared at the screen, waiting for the confusion to clear. I hadn't spoken to anyone. I checked the timestamp. The call they referenced had supposedly happened at 11:32 a.m. At 11:32 a.m., I had been sitting at my desk, answering emails, alone. No headset, no private calls. I replied immediately. I think you have the wrong person. I didn't speak with anyone today. The response came faster than I expected. Less than a minute. They apologized for the confusion and assured me the call had been verified. They included a short summary of what I had supposedly said. I hadn't expected that. The summary was brief. 3 bullet points. How long I had known the individual, whether I considered them reliable, whether I would trust them in a professional setting. Each answer was marked confirmed. I read them twice. The answers weren't wrong. That's what unsettled me. They weren't vague. They weren't generic. They were specific in a way that suggested familiarity. Casual familiarity, not rehearsed responses. The problem was simple. I didn't know the person they were describing. I told them again that they must have made a mistake. This time, the reply took longer. They explained that the call had been completed successfully and archived. The recording existed. The consent was logged. My identity had been verified before the conversation began. They asked if I'd like a copy of the transcript. I didn't respond right away. I stood up from my desk and walked into the kitchen, trying to shake the feeling that something had shifted without me noticing. I told myself it was a mix-up. A different me. Someone with the same name. A system pulling the wrong profile. When I came back, there was another email. The transcript was attached. I hadn't asked for it. I opened the file. It wasn't long. The representative introduced themselves, asked if I had a moment to answer a few questions as a reference. The responses were short, calm, cooperative. Then I reached the part that made my chest feel tight. The transcript didn't label the speaker as reference. It labeled them as my name. Every response was attributed to me. I scanned the text for something obviously wrong. There was nothing. The phrasing wasn't dramatic. It wasn't creepy. It sounded like how I talk when I'm half distracted and just trying to be polite. I could almost hear it in my head. I closed the file. I didn't reply. I told myself to let it go. Not to pull on a thread that would only lead to more confusion. That night, I forgot about it. The next morning, I woke up to a voicemail notification from an unknown number. I didn't listen to it. I didn't need to. I already knew better. I deleted it and went about my day. Around noon, my phone buzzed with another email. Different company, different name, same subject line. Thank you for confirming. This one was from a leasing office. They were following up to confirm that I had served as a reference for a rental application. They thanked me for verifying residency history and personal reliability. I felt a cold heaviness settle in my chest. I hadn't applied for an apartment. I hadn't vouched for anyone. I hadn't spoken to anyone. I opened the attached summary, same pattern. Questions I hadn't answered. Responses marked confirmed. My name listed without hesitation. I checked the timestamp. The confirmation had supposedly happened while I was asleep. I didn't contact them. Instead, I searched my email for the word reference. There were more. A school enrollment confirmation. an emergency contact verification. A short note from an HR department thanking me for my time. All polite, all routine, all calm. None of them treated this as unusual. I scrolled through the dates. The earliest one was from 2 weeks ago. I tried to remember that day. Nothing stood out. That bothered me more than the emails themselves. I called one of the companies directly. A small HR department listed on one of the messages. The woman on the phone sounded friendly, a little tired. I explained that I believed there had been a mistake, that I hadn't spoken with anyone from their office. She paused. Then she said, "You did." Her tone wasn't defensive, it wasn't accusing, it was certain. She said I had been polite, brief, clear, that I had answered everything they needed, that there was nothing else required. I asked when the call happened. She told me the date and time. I looked at my calendar. I had been home alone that evening. I asked if she could send me the recording. There was another pause. Then she said, "We don't keep recordings, just confirmations." I asked how they verified it was me. She said the system did. I asked what that meant. She hesitated, then said, "It matched." I didn't ask what it matched to. I already knew the answer would make things worse. Over the next few days, the emails slowed, and that should have helped. It didn't. Because once I started paying attention, I noticed something else. People stopped asking me for things. Small things, normal things. A coworker told me they already checked with me. A neighbor said I'd agreed to watch their place while they were gone. A distant relative thanked me for being so understanding about something I didn't remember discussing. Every time, the response was the same: polite confusion. They weren't lying. They genuinely believed I had already been involved. I started sleeping poorly, not nightmares, just the sense that time was slipping past me in small, unmarked pieces. One evening, I sat at my kitchen table and tried to remember if I ever talked to myself out loud. Not rehearsing conversations, not thinking, talking, I couldn't be sure. The thought scared me more than the emails ever had. A week later, I received a final message. No subject line, no greeting, just a single sentence. "You were very helpful. No further confirmation is needed." I didn't respond. I unplugged my phone that night, left it in another room. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. I sat on the couch and listened to my own breathing, counting it, grounding myself. Nothing happened, no calls, no messages, no interruptions. That was worse. Because by then I understood something. Whatever was using my name didn't need to reach out anymore. It already had consent. It already had confirmation. And the world was perfectly willing to accept it without ever checking with me again.